You're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Green Bay Packers content, created for the fans by the fans. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know whenever we go live. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Packers_access. Go Pack Go. Enjoy the show.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can text us on the Ticket King text line, 865-658-5824. Joined alongside Emilio in Tennessee, here to talk some Green Bay Packers as Tim is on assignment this evening, doing something way more productive than hanging out on this sucky show right here, I promise you. I know we get the chat already filing in. Good to see everybody on this glorious evening, as we do have some snow flying in Green Bay this evening, from what I'm hearing up that way. Awesome. I know we just got about 3 inches down here in Northeast Tennessee. Emilio, you didn't see a lick, did you, man?
Nothing, dude. I like a little bit of dusting. I'll take it. The whole town shuts down. No problem with me.
I love it, man. It's more buffalo wings for me at the restaurant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Uber Eats was busy with you, I'm sure.
Oh, bro, we had Logan's Roadhouse delivered earlier.
Oh,
been slamming rolls. I probably ate 3,000 calories today.
Mm-hmm. Butter, the cinnamon butter, right?
Oh, yeah, bro. I got on the bike and burned off about 300 calories, so that's good enough. Let's go back for the rolls now.
Yeah.
So that's the way it works. But anyway, let's do this. Let's give a quick shout-out to the good folks over at Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. Wisconsin-based since '92, specializing in Packers tickets. They're Wisconsin's largest ticket source, with offices next to Lambeau and in Milwaukee. Click on the link in the video description, and they send you to their website, theticketking.com, where you can register for free as a customer. Go ahead and start shopping for your Packers tickets. Again, that's Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. Emilio, what have you been into here lately, man? Anything on the forefront of your mind in terms of the Packers? Anything going into this Detroit game? I know we haven't spoke to you in a few days.
Yeah,
and we're getting close, man. I mean, tomorrow's Wednesday, right? So we're coming right down to the wire here, man. It's gonna be a hell of a matchup there in Detroit.
That's it, man. Schedule was a little wonky earlier in the week, so just getting back on track. Glad to be back, and excited for the game. I was just kind of thinking. I think it was Steno a few weeks ago was talking about needing to get up for a game and getting hyped up and psyched up for it. We've been kind of lucky the past few. You had an itch against San Fran that you needed to scratch. You had a Thanksgiving game, and you have another Thursday night primetime game. Is kind of what Josh Jacobs was talking about in his interview tonight. Was just it's Thursday night. Everyone's eyes are going to be on us. It's a primetime game against a primetime team, so we really do need to show up and play. We beat ourselves last time, and I think we have a good shot at it this time. But yeah, it's wild to think how much they've grown kind of just from that last outing against them.
Yeah, it's amazing how the teams have changed. It really is, especially with the injuries and everything else in between. Again, it kind of feels like the Lions they're losing a little steam, although they keep winning every week, and the Packers seem to be building some steam as they're beating teams by a couple scores now, the teams that are pretty close spreads as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out. I know Rel in the chat said that Josh Jacobs interview got me fired up for Thursday. Josh Jacobs has quickly become the leader of this team, man. He really has. He and Xavier McKinney, man, leading by example, but also, man, you could tell the guys really respect him in a lot.
Did you hear what he said? He was saying, the coaches and the team or whatever, trying to get him to take a couple less reps and, take it easy on your body and stuff like that. He's like, no, I need to take my reps. I need to use my reps. One for me, one for the team, two for me, but, doing it to be out there to show your teammates, hey, I'm not above all the veteran rest. I'm not above, this and that. I'm just here to do my job. You have to do the footwork. You gotta practice like you're going to play. The preparation, like Matt was saying, he does everything right when he's going out through the walkthroughs or through 100%, even in his limited opportunities, because they're trying to keep him shielded because they've been working him so much.
It's huge, man. It's huge to have some of your highest paid players setting the example like that. And that a guy who's been carrying the load here at least the last couple of weeks in terms of, carries and obviously in the passing game, this last game when they really loaded the box, he was able to strike a couple of times in the passing game. When you see him working his ass off, everybody else kind of falls in line, right? It's setting the tone for the entire organization. It's huge, man. It really is. Yep. Daryl in the chat says a shout out to Rashawn Gary. Happy birthday to him. The man turned 27 years old today. So happy birthday to Bane Gary out there. Daryl
said, the third oldest on our team now.
It's crazy at 27. Rashawn Gary is worth every $150 million contract extension they paid him. I'm not disappointed about how many sacks he's had this season. I understand it's adjusting to a new scheme. And again, man, the pressures are continuing to pile up. And he's a guy that the big thing for me, especially after that knee injury, is availability and accountability. And you could tell that guy's there. He's absorbing double teams, chips, and all that good stuff. Rashawn Gary, obviously, he's having a down year. Again, we're going to say it every time. There's no doubt he's having a down year. Yep. But 110% our best pass rusher. So you got to tip your cap for that for sure.
And what he's being asked to do this year as well. I mean, it's something different, but he's a guy that you want to turn to and rely on.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go to Twitter. We were coming around earlier on Twitter getting some information. We'll have some injury report news as well here in just a second. Thought this was funny. Football's Greatest Moments is a great follow on Twitter. Says Frosty the Snowman hit him with the Madden 05 Ray Lewis hit stick. I just put dog at Mike linebacker. Look at this video, man.
Go tackle that shit, Sam.
Bro, my man, that is frozen solid.
Yeah. Yep. That thing's been there for 2 weeks. Talk about a statue in the pocket, man. He thought he had him lined up.
Oh, he did. No doubt, man. You can see the head snap too, boy.
Dude, and he kept the hands in the pockets the whole time till the very end. How are you going to wrap up when you're trying to keep the hands warm?
That's called underestimating your opponent, man. That's what that's called. There's no two ways about it. In other news here, ML Football had tweeted out, and I won't show the speech for copyright purposes, but Shannon Sharpe used his own Hall of Fame speech to tell the world that his brother Sterling deserves to be in the Hall. Quote, "I'm the only pro football player that's in the Hall of Fame, and I'm the second best player in my own family." Now, obviously, Sterling Sharpe is up for, I'm trying to think of the exact term. Do you know the exact term they use? Somebody help me in the chat, where it's like a player that's been eligible for a significant amount of time. I'm pretty sure that's how Jerry Kramer finally got in the Hall. Now, it sounds like both Sterling Sharpe and Mike Holmgren are going to be up for the Hall, right? So my question is to you, Emilio, and you know what? This would be a good poll question. If you had to choose between the two, who would you rather have in the Hall of Fame? Sterling Sharpe or Mike Holmgren? I'm going to put a poll question up for you guys. Emilio, you tell me your answer right now, buddy. What do you think about that? Sterling Sharpe or Mike Holmgren?
That's tough. Both kind of before my time. From what I watched, though, I think being a young fan would have to say Sharpe would be in there, even though I respect everything Mike did. Just bringing that energy and having that kind of aura over him, Sharpe, man, would be like everyone said. I kind of saw that pop up on Twitter. Everybody in the comments was just lighting it up about how he needs to be in there. Would have been a Hall of Famer for sure if it was an injury, all that. And you hate to lose a player to injury and not let him see out his prime and go through it all.
Yeah, definitely. And listen, I understand it's a tough decision or a tough question to answer. And shout out to Justin, who does our graphics for PackerNet. Reached out to me today and was like, man, that Favre-Rodgers question sucked. Like, it's hard to choose between Favre or Rodgers for one game. It really is. And I know this one's tough here, too. Let's go through it here, though. We got Jen Wright says Sterling.
Yep.
Daryl says Sharpe. Right. Dennis Shook says Holmgren did it for two franchises, right? He coached for two franchises, right? Made it to the Super Bowl, but only won one with the Packers. Go Pack 84 fan says Sterling Sharpe. John in the chat says Sterling Sharpe. Prince in the chat says Mike Holmgren. Ron Sample says Sterling Sharpe. United Bates says seniors category, I think. Sterling's speech was great. Onion Cutter, I think he was talking about Shannon's speech, right?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. Maybe Sterling spoke for Shannon at that, too. He could have been referring to that. I can't remember. It's been a while. Larry Cano in the chat says Sterling Sharpe has to go in first. Got it. All right. From the tribe of Yehuda says, love Mike Holmgren, but definitely Sterling Sharpe. His numbers was on par with Jerry Rice before the injury. All right. So another one for Sterling. Make sure you guys go vote. Please, please, please go vote in that poll question there. Andy Monday, good to see you, buddy. Says Holmgren brought the championship mentality back to Green Bay, and it hadn't left since. See, I'm thinking that, Emilio. I'm sitting here going, one's got a ring, the other doesn't, right?
Yep.
That's a big part, right? A big part of going into the Hall, no doubt.
That's true. That's true. And that's what Lombardi talks about all the time with coaches, man. It's how are you grading them? What's the scale? I remember listening to that book. It was like, how are you going to grade them? Is it 100 wins? Is it 3 Super Bowls? Is it 2 playoff appearances? Is it 10 playoff wins? All that stuff. And then it's, a bar graph of just trying to figure out who hits those spots,
Yeah, definitely, man. And United Bates did confirm that with Shannon's speech. Got you, buddy. Nate Dogg just says, hey, look, Pack is back, man. I think you hit it at the same time there, Emilio. Pop that thing. I got you.
I'm here to tell you, Pack is back.
That was I went to click that and hit the video at the same time you clicked it off. It's all right. That's why we have Tim.
That's right. Tim makes us look so bad.
He does.
He does. Let's see. Real in the chat says too young to answer that one, but I'd say Sharpe, knowing about his stats.
I feel like that's my area. That's where I'm kind of at.
It feels like in the chat, Sharpe's winning. It does. Mm-hmm. Stacey Mitchell in the chat. Damn, that is hard, but Sterling Sharpe. Coach Lynn says Sharpe. Absolutely. Andy Monday, Sharpe was the best receiver in the league for several seasons. All right, got you, buddy. Let's see here. Coach Lynn, Sharpe would have a ring without – what's that say?
I think you meant to say would have got a ring without that horrible injury.
There you go. It's a good point, man. They probably – if he doesn't have that injury, he's still on the team.
Yeah.
And he stays with the Packers and obviously wins the Super Bowl. That's a great point, Coach. I see what you mean there, man, for sure. Prince, Holmgren got robbed from a second Super Bowl with the Seahawks in the Bettis Bowl. All right, got it. So you guys get the gist there. Let's see what the who's leading in the poll question real quick. Man, it ain't even close. Sterling Sharpe, 73%. Mike Holmgren, 27%.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And Greg Rice must have been part of the 27. He put his foot down. He said, I can't pick between Mike and Sharpe.
Right. He said, I did it. You made me do it between Favre and Rodgers last night, and I ain't doing it with Holmgren and Sharpe today. Got it. All right, good stuff, man. Appreciate y'all contributing there. Again, get your votes in, and we'll get you a result at the end. Now, this creeper right here, right? Look at this guy. I need to get confirmation. If somebody in the chat can confirm for me if John Hussey is going to be the official for the game. Football Zebras, all right, at Football Zebras on Twitter said early word is John Hussey will be the referee for Thursday night's Packers-Lions game. Very unusual for a crew to flip from Monday Night Football to Thursday Night Football. Now, obviously, this was the crew and the crew chief that I think it was Troy Aikman was talking really good about. I heard people talking about that on Twitter as well. If we were to go and look at the referee statistics, all right, let me drop this down. Actually, we'll leave it up. I'll just read it to you. When you go to total flags on the year, John Hussey is dead last at 127.
Here's
now,
a guy.
There you go. When you go to count per game, okay, that means obviously he's only officiated in 10 games, and there's some crews that have officiated in 12 games. So if you go to flags thrown by his crew per game, John Hussey is dead last at 10.6 flags per game. If he is the official, Emilio, and you're going in Thursday night, it would suggest they're going to let the boys play, and I'm excited about that, man. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think you have to let them play just because of the types of teams that they are. I think they both want to be physical. They're both trying to put a little meat on that bone and make the other team pay for what they've done to you. The Lions have a lot of hate for us for the past their entire existence, and we have a lot of hate from the past year or two. So let's go in there, rattle the cage, like Tucker said, make some fans leave early, quiet the crowd, and you just got to show up, really.
Yeah. Dennis Shook in the chat said, "Home wrecker Hussey." There you go. All right.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at having the least amount of flags, though. I really, really like to rather see him play. Take that out of the game, that aspect of it. Let's just remove it. Because we beat ourselves last game. We had a lot of penalties. The one I was rewatching with the Bucs Lions where they did take their loss, a couple of penalties early that the Lions took, and a couple of no calls, bang bang plays that if that stays for our game, I think we can make some of those the ball flip our way.
Yeah, definitely. Ron Sample did confirm. He said, "Yep, that's the crew for Thursday." So I guess it has been announced. So John Hussey will be the head referee, official, whatever you want to call it, for the Packers-Lions game. So that's exciting, man. We're going to get, again, it's a good thing until you see one of your boys get held and it not get called, right, Emilio? Then you're mad. So yep. We'll see, though. We'll see how it goes for sure. Wes Hodkowitz tweeted this out earlier. Actually, I think it was from November 21st, and then he had tweeted it back out. It popped up on my time. Like, I got to hit this, man. Look how beautiful Lambeau is out there with the glow of the lights, man. We booked our airfare today, Emilio, for the draft, so we're all squared away. The B and
Oh,
B's
no,
ready
great.
to
No,
roll.
I need to do that. We're gonna have to
Hey,
talk once we get off. We'll line it up.
you better get on it, man. Better get on it. We're flying out of here locally. We were thinking about flying out of Knoxville, but we'll be flying out here in the Tri-Cities. So get on it though, man, because I'm telling you, the closer we get to the draft, those people will come from all over the country to experience. This is probably going to be. I mean, listen, I'm 42 years old, right? They're not going to be back in Green Bay for a draft probably in my lifetime, right? I don't expect to make it much further than 70. I'm just going to be honest with you. If I make it to 60, man, I have outlived a lot
You're
of
a happy camper.
a lot of the men in my family. I've outlived.
Yeah.
I promise you that. So this is going to be my only shot, and I think many people probably looking at it too that are in their 50s, 60s, right? Like, hey, let's go experience the draft.
Yeah, I mean, even for me, I'm just shy of 30. What's going to happen in the next 30? I mean, I don't know where it's going to be. We don't know what's happening in the future. So yeah, I think it's going to be absolutely blast.
Definitely. Coach Lynn says they will come from all over the world. They're going to, man. It's going to be awesome. I can't. Greg Rice says, Prince, sit your butt outside. We got to hit him with it, man. Give him one of those real quick.
It's
sit your butt outside.
That's it. Tim, we miss him, man.
I know it. Tim, get back in here, man. What are you doing? All right. So again, shout out to Wes Hockwitz, one of the best follows on Packers Twitter for sure.
And go listen to their Packers Unscripted with him and Mike. Love that. I love this. It's every Tuesday and Thursday, I believe. But one this week because of the game.
Yeah. Okay. So did you see the hit on Trevor Lawrence?
I did.
Okay. I want to get your take before I read this. Okay. And listen, there's no wrong answer. Don't feel persuaded to answer a certain way. Like people in the chat, I understand there's going to be some people that think it's absolutely horrible that dude laid that hit and he should be kicked out of football. I understand there's some people that think that's just football. What's your take on that hit? Did you feel like it was a dirty hit? And how do you feel about that?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a dirty hit, but especially got dirtier with the elbow and like finishing through with the elbow. Trust me. I mean, I've been on both sides of some dirty licks, not trying to clean anyone's clock, but you're out there, you're trying to smack someone, you want to hit him. I think his forearm follow through was the worst part of it. Because we've seen slides and hits like that. I think it was when he kind of, pushed down on it, kind of like how that Lions dude pushed down on Jordan's ankle. Right. When you do something like that, you're taking it to the next level. You're trying to, really hurt the dude. You would never want to, knock Trevor Lawrence out cold clean. That's not something you're looking for. I do think it was a little dirty. Yeah. But I also think that it's kind of shady that the quarterback can run up, do a fake slide, and Pat Mahomes get another 15 yards out of it. I think that there's a real fine line they really do need to kind of figure out. If they give themselves up, they give it up. But then you're also like, if the quarterback's out of the pocket, he should be a runner just like everybody else. And you get that argument as well. So there's a few points that you kind of need to look at it. I would say the runner out of the pocket, no more, kind of fake two-way sliding. And you might be able to get away with that.
Yeah. Prince in the chat said, yep, that forearm was intentional. Ron Sample says, I hate the late slide, promotes that dirty hit. That guy, unfortunately, has a little history.
That doesn't help either.
Yeah. Holmes MD1 says, Trevor got lit. He said, it was sure late, nasty cheeks.
But hear me. I mean, like in lacrosse, you'll have some bang bangs where the whistle blows, the dude's finishing his shot. I'm still going to follow through with the hit. You know what I mean? Like I'll take the flag afterwards, but I'm not going to stop that hit. But I do get when he like, and also the fact of like, if you're gonna do it, throw your bone on there. Don't throw the bionic arm into his face mask and just force the dude's head into the turf.
Yeah. So the tweet I put out, I said, I completely agree with Joe Thomas. We're going to read Joe Thomas's tweet. Okay. And I said, completely agree. Nothing worse than watching Patrick Mahomes run up the sideline, waiting for a defender to touch him inbound so he can step out and flail around like a drama queen. I cannot stand that, man. It's why I can't watch basketball today. I can't. I know everybody gets excited about their Milwaukee Bucks and everything, but man, it seems like every time I give the NBA a shot, someone out there flopping around, LeBron acting like someone's killing them on the court. And I grew up in the era with Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas, on and on and on, man. Shaq, throwing football or throwing basketball at people's heads and swinging on people. Like, that was basketball back then. Now it's these guys are just looking for a reason to flop. It drives me crazy. But here's what Joe Thomas had to say. A little long, but I really like how it's worded. Apologize for me reading on a third grade language, but here we go. Joe Thomas, the great Wisconsin Badger, right? I think he played with Wisconsin, right, Emilio, if I remember correctly? Great offensive lineman. This hit was malicious and has no place in our game. But the NFL needs to get the, quote, weaponized quarterback slide out of the game. As dangerous as hits on a quarterback are when the quarterback chooses to slide, we need to stop allowing quarterbacks to fake slide or late slide in order to gain yardage and confuse the defenders on it if the quarterback is sliding or not. He went on to say it would go a long way towards taking those terrible hits out of the game and making things more safe for the quarterback and for the defender. A late slide, fake slide, or acting like you're going to go out of bounds and then skirting forward for a few more yards, these all need to be 15-yard penalties against the offense. And it's about time the NFL referees started marking the ball down immediately when the quarterback starts to slide, which is the rule, by the way. He's fired up, man. If this happens, the big hits on quarterbacks when they're sliding will be completely eliminated from the game. That's what we all want, right? And they're talking about how Azeez Al-Shaair was suspended for 3 games for that hit, as Adam Schefter tweeted out, for the hit that he delivered on Trevor Lawrence. Listen, I think it was a dirty hit. You could tell Trevor was sliding, but at the same time, like, here's the way it should be. If you're going to slide, slide. If you wait till the last second, there should be no flag. That's the way I feel about it. Now, I understand they're trying to get the extra yards and this and that, but the rules are already catering to the quarterback. And I'm telling you, man, there's nothing more frustrating than watching Patrick Mahomes just stretch this rule out to the nth degree. He does it every single week if you watch the Chiefs play.
Yeah, and just a couple points here. The Packer fan, this is a fair point, said manipulating the game is a way to win as well. That's very true. That's what football's about. You got to figure out the line in the rule book. But the who was it? Mikey Riggs, he said Mahomes fake out has nothing to do with this hit. I mean, that's true to a point, but you also get it where he's running on field. You give him the fake, the fake, I'm going to slow down and stop. Everybody kind of just clams around them because they get all the other calls anyway. So that's where you got to look at it is, all right, if the quarterback's running in between the hashes, he's a defenseless runner, but outside the hashes to the sideline, he's not. And we can hit him, or how do you want it? Is it going to be like it's tough because I don't know. When you start the slide, you're giving your body up. He's still mid dive. You probably could push off maybe a little bit and try to shoot above him and barrel roll over the dude and not even hit him. But you're gonna want to finish the hit. If a running back runs around and does a slide like that, are you still going to go clean his clock? I mean, maybe if you're already running that way, if they go to give themselves up, but it also seems like at the end of a game, they're not, or, when those slides are actually being used at an end of a game with a running back, they're still not following through as much as they do on those quarterback slides would just kind of be my take.
Yeah, no, and I could not disagree more with Mr. Mikey Riggs. It has everything to do with it because Mahomes is the poster child for the league. Mahomes, let's put it this way. Who was it? There was a quarterback that got the hell beat out of him last week. I'm trying to think who it was. There was like 2 or 3 late hits on him. I can't remember who it was, but everybody was going, if this was Mahomes, all 3 of those would have been flags.
Right.
Because they protect their golden boy. I can show you clip after clip. Now, listen, we're risking it here, and I probably shouldn't. Emilio's going, don't do it, Clayton, don't do it.
Of course, it always happens when I'm on.
Yeah, it's always your fault. So, like right here, this play right here, we're going to keep it muted just to kind of give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about. I want you to watch him get to the sideline here. We'll go fast. Now, look, get out of bounds if you don't want to get hit, right?
Right.
Jonathan Owens hits him in bounds, and we get flagged.
Boom, stopped him at the line. I mean, and he's in bounds. That's what I'm saying. Like, are we running a vertical, imaginary line right at the sideline? Are you, if the ball crosses that sideline, where is it, dude? If you're trying, you're a runner at that point. That's how I kind of look at it. Is
His foot is in bounds.
Yeah.
Right. And this is what we're talking about, because it's creating this, what am I trying to say here? This, not narrative, but it's like this new standard that, okay, no, we got to call it like we did for Pat there. And it's the bar keeps getting raised for Pat. I'm sure there's another one in here somewhere, because I've had a bunch of them, like right here. That's not it. Okay. So I was trying to search through mine. There was another one too. It was against the in one of the biggest games too. I don't want to get crazy with these clips because we will get in trouble.
Walking the line here.
It was against the Cincinnati Bengals. If you guys go find it, I'm telling you, it's going to be worth your time. So he ended up getting a penalty that ended up setting up, I think, the go-ahead score against the Bengals in the playoffs 2 years ago. And if you would see it, same thing, skirting the sideline, waiting to the last second, dipping out. The guy shoves him, and he gets barely pushed in the shoulder, and his arms do this. He throws the football up in the air and does this.
Yeah.
Now think, you're a football player protecting the football, right? How many times have you seen a football player between the white lines running with a football get shoved from the side and them throw the ball up in the air? They're fake. He's faking. He's being I wish I could use the language. So, and I agree with what Bates is saying. All runners should be treated equally. If you're going to run the rock, if you're going to tuck it down after the defense makes an absolutely perfect coverage call and they flush you out of the pocket, why the hell should you be protected 15 yards down the field while you're trying to get every inch you can? That's just crazy to me. It's crazy.
I'd maybe take the slide out of it, and only forward dives are allowed. Either put your shoulder down, get out of bounds, or forward dive and get to the ground as quickly as you can. Because, I mean, if you have to make the decision of I'm dropping my body weight forward versus I'm leaning back and ducking out of it, thank you, Ron. Yeah, just eliminate the slide and we're going to asterisk that and put dive in there. You can dive forward wherever you get the ball to, be done with, get touchdown, call it a day.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you dive forward, they don't touch you down, get back up and start running. That's walking between the lines. You know what I mean? So that's where we got to kind of figure out. But I think that we should look at them as all runners. I think that would be fair. But again, we don't want Jordan Love to get cracked, but he's probably not going to put himself in a situation where I'm going to go 50 yards down the field in between the hash marks with two linebackers and a safety breathing down my neck.
Yep. And here's the thing, 8 yards away from the defender, lay down, slide. Yeah. That's different. That's totally different than trying to manipulate the rule, right?
Yeah.
I'm with Ron. Like this is how I'm wired. Get rid of it. Okay, you guys want to abuse the rule? Cool. We're going to remove it for a year. Good luck out there. Hope you survive. That's the way I would feel about it. It's just, I mean,
you get all the protection you want in the pocket. I think that once you step outside of it, we're back to playing football.
Bingo.
Lamar doesn't get protected when he's running the ball down the field.
Never, dude. That's what I'm saying is like you got players like that constantly don't get protected. And Patrick Mahomes, they treat him like he's this golden goose.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy. Prince in the chat says Caleb faked it 2 weeks ago and got a penalty on McKinney. That's the other one, right? Caleb Williams scrambling out of bounds. McKinney barely touches him. He trips over the tarp, and what did he do? Went completely limp. All of a sudden, you know, the guy been lowering his head the entire game and trying to fight for extra yardage. He gets on the sideline and wants to play, you know, wants to act or something and get an extra penalty. Man, that stuff drives me crazy. I think you should also, in my opinion, you really want to get that whole flopping thing out of the game. Make it a judgment call for the officials that if somebody flops, they can throw them out of the game. Watch that change real quick. That would change real quick, I promise you. So I can't stand it. And you guys know I am pro protect the player. I'm the dude that's like, hey, whatever we got to do to change the rules to protect every football player on the field from CTE is top priority in my book. But when you got players that are faking getting hit and trying to manipulate the rules, man, that's a totally different ball game there. I feel bad for the defense. I really do, because every rule in the book is put in to cater to the offense. It drives me crazy. So anyway, what is this? Holmes MD1. Meanwhile, poor Bo Melton got his ass handed to him. Ejection, but no suspension. You talking about what game was that? It was 2 games ago, right? Am I thinking right, Emilio? When Bo Melton got lit up? I think
it was on a punt return, wasn't it?
It may have been. I can't remember. But
they all start to blend together.
Larry Cano, hey Clayton, what happened if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying? Exactly. But when you do it in a cowardly way, Larry, that's where I have a problem with it. Like, think about that. When you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. A dirty hit, I'm sorry. I'm not proud of it. I'm that dude. I'm that dude that's going to try to set a tone. I want players trying to set the tone.
Yeah.
Right? When I say dirty hit, like you stretch the rules to the nth degree to add a physicality to your game to where they go, like Aaron Rodgers was on Pat McAfee today, and he was talking about this. He's like, when I first came in the league, when A.J. Hawk played, and way back, especially in the 90s and the 80s, you want to know why passing numbers were so far down? Because if you went over the middle, you got lit up. That was the consequence. And Tom Brady's been on the record saying this multiple times, saying there's no way that I would throw balls to my receivers that I do today 15, 20 years ago. You got to understand our numbers were down because we would get our guys killed, and we knew I cannot throw that ball and put my guy in trouble.
Right.
And there's still that risk every game, every week, right? But the rules have changed so much that they've kind of gotten that out of there, right? And the helmets are a big issue. It really is. But as far as the cheating, you ain't trying to do it in a way, Larry, where you're faking an injury or you're faking like someone pushed you too hard. Man, I'm not wired that way. I am not wired that way. I just can't do it. I don't know. Maybe it's the way I was raised. But does that make sense, Emilio? Like,
yeah.
I can't. There's just too much pride. How many times have you seen Aaron Rodgers flop? Aaron Rodgers, people would say he's a prima donna, right? They would say that he's all about himself and he got too big for his britches. And I think there's valid arguments there. But when have you ever seen Aaron Rodgers fake like someone pushed him down? It doesn't happen. When did you ever see Brett Favre do that? Brett Favre was going at Warren Sapp, getting in his face, talking trash, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's the type of stuff we're talking about. You don't see Joe Burrow flop. Joe Burrow is kind of a tougher quarterback, right?
Yeah, get up there and hit me harder kind of thing. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I did walk the line a few times. Like I said, you're still following through with your shot, but the ball's already left. I'm still probably hitting you. You know what I mean? I've already committed. I've already slid kind of thing. Right. You're gonna take those penalties. But yeah, I mean, if you're flopping because there was a real penalty there, I understand it. But no, I hate the little ticky tack. I got flicked and I'm on the ground kind of stuff. Right. But I mean, if dude stepped on your knee and tried to bend it back inwards and you're like, kind of flailing a little to get a little eye attention on it, I get that.
Yeah. And the play that we're talking about here with Trevor Lawrence, I don't think Trevor Lawrence slid late. There's some people that believe he did. I don't. I think that Al-Shaair, which is actually a free agent, we were looking at signing this. You remember we were like, hey, this is a guy we might want. And Aaron Rodgers did talk about he's one of the hardest hitters in the game. He was out of line. I think the suspension probably put him on par with what he did. Like, that was wrong for him to do that. I didn't feel like Trevor Lawrence tried to get every single inch and then slide. And it sounds like since then, Al-Shaair has come out and kind of like he realizes he was wrong. We're talking about offensive players trying to stretch that rule. Caleb Williams on the sideline. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes over and over and over, pretending that he's all, whatever, a victim. So, but in this case right here, though, Trevor Lawrence, I don't think he did anything wrong. I think Trevor Lawrence plays the game the right way, too. I really do, man. Really, really do.
And again, the fact that it was a bionic arm that did it does not help. I mean, if you had thrown your own shoulder in there, I think that's something a little bit different, but no, you got a metal plate on your arm and you're just shoving it. I mean, he probably caught him in between the face mask, because it's not like he had a visor on or anything. That's cut, that's going to catch your face.
Yeah. Larry Cano says, I agree with you, Clayton, but Mahomes knows he can get away with it. And that's the real problem, right? Like,
that's once they took discount double check away from Rodgers and the State Farm, it was a wrap. I'm telling you, once they started bringing Mahomes into the State Farm, I mean, they weren't going to let him lose in the State Farm building, so it's like.
It reminds me of back in the day with Dale Earnhardt. And I remember his old crew chief that turned a media member. He said he remembers if you guys grew up watching Dale Earnhardt in the old NASCAR, that man, he just loved wrecking people, bro. That's just, that was his MO, was he was going to do whatever he could. If we ain't rubbing, we ain't racing. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. All that applied with Dale. But his crew chief said it was hilarious because NASCAR would come down on him. And he said it was funny because it was like, this was the situation where you let a dog pee on the carpet for 3 months. And all of a sudden one day decide you're going to bust his ass. And the dog's looking at you like, what's the deal here? Like,
Yeah.
what? That's how Dale would look at him. That's how it feels, Larry, with Patrick Mahomes. They've let him get away with it for so long, and you see other quarterbacks trying to mimic it in certain senses. Again, not with Trevor Lawrence in this situation, but I'm simply saying I understand both sides of the argument. That's all I'm saying. And I would I'd send a goon out there. All right, you want to flop? We're going to give you a reason to flop. That's just me. But
Oh yeah. Oh,
Jack, go ahead. Read it.
I definitely think that a goon is needed. You need one on every team at least.
Mm-hmm. Prince in the chat says, I remember the old days before the clothesline was outlawed and receivers would really get lit up. Dick Not Train Lane from Detroit and the guy from the Raiders were headhunters. Who was the guy from the Raiders? Because he wore a cast and they had the cast loaded. Like they would put extra stuff
Weight in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was using it like a club. It was,
I can't believe it, just like what they went for. I mean, they used to run full pads, basically full forearm pads and everything on it. Now it's a sleeve or we got the tape job. It's just a completely different game, man. Even the running backs, they don't have the big pads on the elbows. No more rubber sleeves like the bus and all that.
Yeah, definitely. You know what I'm going to do here, Emilio? I want to pull up that play real quick since we're on this topic. Why not? Right. Trevor Lawrence run. I'm going to pull up, hit a couple in the chat. Let me get this up on the screen here.
Cheese on top 17 says the hit was football, but his emotional crying is why he's suspended. Fair. The hit on this Packers fan, number one Packers fan said the hit and the slide all happened at the same time. 3 games is much, but the forearm was stupid, so he earned it. I think that really was key. If you're leading with the shoulder pad, you can play that off a lot easier. You were aiming for something with the arm there. Greg Wright says it's a pretty bang play. The defender has to be so careful not to get flagged on the slides, and not hitting ball carriers in the head that are ducking down. The only problem was Trevor. I mean, how much further down can you get, Greg? When you're sliding back and your head's already leaning back, I mean, he could try to limbo, and go a little bit lower, but it's not. You don't have that much more space to go backwards. And to finish that off, Ron said he had to change his insurance once discount double check went away and Mahomes came in.
What did you go to? Allstate, man?
Yeah. The Geico. I mean, what sold you?
Now listen, we have the what am I trying to say here? The convenience of this being half speed. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It's a lot harder call to make. And for the defender, it's a lot quicker decision to make. For the quarterback, everything's happening a lot quicker. But here is the play, and we'll go to the end zone cam too. So I mean, you can see he puts the forearm right on the chin, right? I mean, that's about as ugly. And listen, by the way, I love the teammate coming in. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I would have been there in an instant. And then you also see the stiff arms. I mean, you hate to see like his body lock up. It's brutal.
Yeah, let's let it play again here. I think I've got the auto play turned off too, so it should loop now. But let's just kind of see it. That's from the defense's perspective there. Now, if I'm in the secondary, maybe it don't look as bad right there, Mm-hmm. But this shot right here really shows it. I mean, it's more of the forearm, like whoever said that early in the chat, right? I mean, he just kind of bang right on the chin. So,
I mean, looking at it a little fast, yeah, Trevor didn't get down fast enough, right? If he's going to slide, you got to commit to that, get down. But he still, I mean, Jair still headhunted him, right? He knew he gave up. He's still, he's still mid motion. He can jump over Trevor right now. He doesn't need to hit him. He could jump over him, do a barrel roll.
Very true. Do a barrel roll.
Roll.
Yeah. It's again, man, it's tough because it happens so fast. I'm trying to get at half speed.
But hear me out. They can go and cut legs and cut tight ends' knees out and cut their ankles out, but they can't go and shoot at Trevor's ankles right here. You know what I mean? Like if you want to shoot at ankles, do that. Shoot at his ankle, slide and take his foot out. I mean, if that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, that shot right there really tells a lot, right? Because the defender still hasn't even left his feet. You can see he's in the full. We would agree he's in the full slide motion right there, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, they, at no point right now does the defender think he's trying to gain an extra yard. So, again, I think I agree with the suspension, but I think it should be policed, like Joe Thomas said, in a sense of, hey, look, if quarterbacks are going to wait till the last second, there should be a penalty there, especially with the flopping too, for sure.
Bates, United Bates says here, Houston's GM had some words for the NFL about it. I'm thinking the 3 games may end up getting reduced based on the precedent of other players getting the boot and only getting 1 game.
Yeah,
I think that's a great point.
There's no doubt in my mind it will get reduced. It always does, and it's funny because the NFL started kind of upping the suspension a little bit, knowing it's going to get reduced. It's like give and take.
Gotta work it. Let
me write this down. Penalty controversy, because I think this is a great conversation. I really do. And again, I don't think there's any wrong answer here. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. This right here is just it's tough to see, man. When you see a player do that, like what that is right there, guys, his brain smacked the front of his skull. And I want you to think of Junior Seau, right, who shot himself in the chest. Let's be real, right? He ended his – I'm trying to be careful here because –
Yep, please be careful.
Right, yes. Please be careful. Emilio's always online when this happens. Junior Seau, you know how that ended, right? For taking these type of hits, right? Not specifically a quarterback, sliding, obviously. Mike Webster, same type of thing, right? There was an offensive lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you don't know, if you watch Concussion, you'll know. It's, man, that was a sad story. There's far too many to try to name them all, because this right here happens multiple times over the course of someone's career. Tua right now, the fact that Tua's playing, I got all the respect in the world for Tua, that he loves the game so much that he's like, you know what? I'm not really overly concerned about it. I want to keep playing football. I respect the heck out of that. Brett Favre right now, dealing with Parkinson's. They said that is directly, from all the concussions he had over the years. I remember one specific play as I was a Packer fan, became a Packer fan. I think it was against the Browns, if I remember correctly. Brett Favre gets a concussion, goes to the sideline. They didn't take his helmet away. And as he went to the sideline, he looked out there, ran back on the field before they could stop him, throws a touchdown pass. They pull him to the sideline, take his helmet from him so he can't go back on the field. And he didn't even remember throwing the touchdown pass. Like, just because they're just so programmed, you know what I mean? Yeah. But again, a far cry from, Patty Mahomes that wants to flop every chance he gets, for sure. So
yeah, no, I hate to see that. I mean, once the body stiffens up like that, you hate it. I mean, that could have happened. I probably had 2 to 3 rough concussions in my time, and then maybe 1 or 2 others that were not discussed. But I just never. You never get to see your own hit, right? So seeing it on the film like that, and seeing your own body lock up, it's got to be brutal, right? And and again for Shair, I mean, now that everybody's talking about it, it's the face. Everyone's seen it. Everyone's seen the clip 1,000 times. I mean, is that going to be something you're going to change moving forward? Are you going to think about that a little bit more next game? Are you going to be a half a second late? Are you going to be nicer? I don't know. I mean, I know Dennis was saying he's got a history of dirty shots, but what's that going to change moving forward after this?
Yeah. AFAM in the chat says, do you have footage of the after scrum? What is wrong with you, AFAM? You need to watch UFC on Saturday night. All right, sir.
What is wrong with you? Of course we do. Just scroll down. No, I'm kidding.
It was a good scrum, though. I mean, and listen, with college football this week with the rivalries, oh my God, did you get to see any of that with Michigan, Ohio State?
Yeah, I watched a little bit, dude. I watched that the Georgia Tech game. That was wild. The 8 overtimes, that was crazy. But yeah, no, that's that playoffs, man. Everybody, you got to come to play.
Yeah. So again, I agree with Joe Thomas here. Listen, the guy should have been suspended. I don't know if Joe specifically said that, but I think the guy should have been suspended. But at the same time, we got to start doing something with the quarterbacks trying to manipulate the rule, for sure. Mm-hmm. So, all right, so we hit that, and you know what? That's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour 2. Appreciate y'all.
All right, cheese curds, my stomach hurt all the time, but I do eat them though.
Welcome back to hour 2 with Bo Melton and his cheese curd drop. All right, so next thing up here that we came across on the league today, thought this was cool. Bucky Brooks put his top 10 rankings out there, and So we'll talk about the rankings, but the tweet I put with it was all three of the Green Bay Packers losses this year were to top 5 teams in the NFL. Green Bay faces 2 of those teams again down the final stretch. Make no mistake, the playoffs have already begun in Titletown. Emilio, Detroit number 1, Buffalo number 2, Philadelphia number 3, Kansas City 4, Minnesota 5, and then Green Bay Packers number 6. Isn't it wild? And that the Packers basically their 3 losses came from the number 1 team, the number 3 team, and the number 5 team, all top 5 teams. It really says a lot about this Packers team going into the final stretch here.
Yeah, it does. And like Bill Belichick always says, football starts after Thanksgiving. And I think that's really true because, I mean, we looked at the early season and we said, all right, the Lions are going to be kind of tough. Philly, we could probably get the win on. We're not sure about them. You know, Sirianni and Jalen got a button heads. Vikings don't have a quarterback. You know, their team's in shambles. And you look at it, 12 weeks in, and hey, we finally got ourselves etched in that top 10 for good. I think that we were begging for in the beginning of the year, but nobody had faith. And now they actually have to respect it. I think they don't want to put Packers in the top 5 because they don't want to be talking about us that much. But once we do get to show our hand again and go up against, the top 2 of the top 5, I think that's going to be huge. Two of them are in the AFC. We're not going to see them unless we get to the Super Bowl. And we're going to see one of those 2 again if we make a run in the playoffs. So it's not going to be the end. Whoever we play this, or playing against the Vikings and the Lions, it's not going to be the end for one of those teams. I don't think we're going to see them again.
Yeah, definitely. So again, I think I pretty much agree with this top 10 rankings. Outside of that, Pittsburgh at 7, LA Chargers at 8, Denver Broncos at 9, the Baltimore Ravens at 10. Pittsburgh, man, this might be the year for Pittsburgh. I ain't gonna lie, boys. They're looking good. And Russell Wilson, somebody put a montage together of Sean Payton kind of going off on Russell Wilson all year last year. How cool would it be if it ends up being Pittsburgh and Denver in the playoffs? Sean Payton against Russell Wilson. That would be, man, the storylines are just everywhere. I mean, with Detroit, you got Dan Campbell and this banged-up Detroit Lions team. Are they tough enough? Are they fundamentally sound enough to win the whole thing? The Buffalo Bills, if you didn't see the snow game the other night, was just phenomenal.
Can't believe they're getting rid of it. I mean, how many stadiums are we going to take the snow out of? I mean,
and listen, Buffalo, I think Buffalo handled theirs pretty good. They're building their stadium kind of built after the Tottenham Spurs Stadium.
Tottenham Hotspurs, yeah.
And basically what it is, it's still outside, but they are going to cover the stands for the fans. So the fans aren't getting like the elements, but there's still going to be snow falling on the field. I think that's cool. I don't love it. I like the open stadiums, but that's better than a dome, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So, and you still got Philly that plays outside. Kansas City plays outside. Obviously, Denver does. Pittsburgh does. The Packers always will. Baltimore does. Got a lot of teams here representing that are cold weather teams. Yeah, the Buffalo game was awesome. But Philadelphia, listen, they are built so well up front on both sides of the ball, right? Both offense and defensive line. Kansas City just always figure out a way to win, and it's mainly because of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, when the game's on the line, he figures out a way to win the football game. There's no 2 ways about it. Their defense is really what's kept them in it this year, though. Obviously, with Chris Jones and Spags there calling the defense on the opposite side. With Minnesota, are they frauds? This is the time of year they usually turn out to be frauds. Are they this year, right? Aaron Jones all of a sudden got this fumbling issue again, kind of reemerge for Minnesota. We'll see what they can do, right? It's going to be
a little bit of wear and tear.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. You kidding me?
A little bit of overusage early in the season. Maybe you should have watched the snap counts like Matt did, sort of thing.
Bingo. But again, the point here with this top 10 is just there's storylines everywhere. It's going to be an awesome playoff run. There's no 2 ways about it. Let's see. Ron Samble said, I got a concussion on a kickoff, went to the wrong sideline, sent me to my sideline and told me I couldn't go back in unless I could count backwards from 100 by 7s. I still can't go back in. So
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
And Ron's still in concussion protocol for 42 years. I love it. All right, let's.
We used to do for me. It was you got to remember like a fruit, a month, and something else. Like what was the date of? Give me a fruit in a month, and then you have to remember it for 5 or 10 minutes, and then bam, if you ace those 3 things, just sit there repeating them to yourself. Good to go. We're back in there.
No doubt. So next thing, injury report here, just a little update. I tweeted this out from Dominique Yates, actually put it out on Twitter, says it's Tuesday, but Friday for the Packers. Jair Alexander and Romeo Dobbs are practicing for the third straight day. Elton Jenkins is back after a rest day. So the fact that Dominique Yates specifically said rest day makes me feel a lot better about Elton Jenkins. We talked about last night, Amelia. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to the pod, but he was listed as veteran rest plus a knee. And in the past, sometimes you get down the report, sometimes you don't. There were some of the beat reporters that were talking about the knee kind of got added. Is he going to go? That type of thing. It sounds like with him being back, he's going to be good to go there. So that's going to be huge to have him back. And then Adrian Cooper with the hamstring and Corey Ballantyne with the knee are on the sideline, so they did not practice. I feel like Adrian Cooper's not going to play this week. Do you agree with that?
Yep. Okay. Yeah. If they're not out there, because this would have been their Friday.
Yep.
Yeah. So if he's not playing on Friday, it's a wrap for him. Just take him out, man. Let him recoup. We need him for later on in the year anyway. We were happy with McDuffie the way he played. Quay's been getting better. Maybe once Quay and Coop both get back on there and they're both humming, we'd be in good shape. But let Quay keep growing, keep getting his numbers right, and get reps in there. Maybe Hopper gets a poke.
Yeah, there you go. And I tweeted out moment of silence. Fox Sports NFL tweeted out after the first 13 weeks of the season, 4 teams have been eliminated from playoff contention: the New York Giants, the Las Vegas Raiders, the New England Patriots, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So moment of silence, Emilio, for the 4 teams that have been eliminated in week 13.
Still should have listened to your son and what he wanted to draft.
Still should have.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. And Hard Knocks starts tonight too, man. AFC North Hard Knocks in season. Gonna be good. Gonna be good. The intro or the commercial they use with Mike Tomlin, it looks like fire, man. It's gonna be awesome, especially with those AFC North teams playing pretty good there in Baltimore and Pittsburgh. So it'll also be kind of cool to see behind the scenes with the Cincinnati Bengals with their struggles, right? Because Joe Burrow looks so frustrated, man. And if I remember correctly, they chose not to extend Jamar Chase, so there's a little bit of conflict there. I'm really excited to go through that in-season stuff for sure.
Do you think Tay's happy he's not eliminated yet?
I'd say so, yeah. So this one right here cracked me up. Andy Herman had tweeted us out. He said, "Kudos to Bill Huber." Now you see, I got the kid here gagging like, "Oh boy, that's bad," right?
That one's coming up.
Kudos to Bill Huber for bringing this statistic to my attention last week. But Eric Stokes has played 999 snaps over the past 3 seasons and has 0 interceptions and 0 pass breakups. I'm going to say that again. Emilio. He has played 1 snap shy of 1,000 snaps, and he hasn't gotten his hand on 1 football. That is crazy. That's nuts. Am I losing my mind here, bro? Like you play cornerback in the NFL. And you've played 1,000 snaps, and you haven't gotten a hand on a football in the last 1,000 snaps.
How about these hands?
Exactly.
Larry walked in there and said, "Man, you got to get a hand on it."
Here, you want to borrow my pinky? Swing that thing out there.
That's brutal. That's pretty bad. I didn't know that.
So bad. He said he has 3 penalties, 6 touchdowns allowed, and his passer ratings by year are this year 106.3. You think, man, that's bad, right? Wait, there's more. 2023, it was 152.9. And in 2022, it was 125.8. The Eric Stokes experiment is over, right? Like this is really bad, man. As AFAM said, that's the most brutal stat I've ever heard. I have never heard of a player going 1,000 snaps without touching a football, man. That's just crazy.
That's like the thousands, that's like the 1,200 snaps that Josh Jacobs had and hadn't scored a receiving touchdown. But I mean, he's done everything else, been a rushing leader, all that. That is brutal. You can't even get a hand on the ball.
Yeah. Definitely. I like what Paul Stevens said in the comments there, too. This just means he's due, right?
Yeah, he's going to have a game.
So, again, that's the reason for the nausea video there from the little kid. I was like, boy, that's bad. That's bad news. So, here we go. John in the chat. Stokes getting a pick 6 to 7. How hilarious would that be? If he just goes,
maybe it's good luck. Maybe we bring it up, talk about it. And John wishing good luck on Stokes here.
Yeah. Hey, maybe so, man. We'll see. All right.
There, looking at the bright side. But he has his rating has improved this year.
It's fun. It's
from the other two. I mean, not from
man.
just last year, the 152 from the year before. We get them under 100. I think we're cooking.
God, it's crazy, man. Oh, first round pick too. Just there you go. Dennis Shook, just like Savage last year. It really is. Now, listen, they didn't pick up the 5th-year option on Stokes, so maybe we kind of learned our lesson there, right? Emilio, you remember? Am I losing my mind? Or when we went into the draft process and we, obviously do a show all year long, and we try to kind of walk through and go, okay, what are our top needs? Wasn't cornerback one of our top needs? Like we drafted 3 cornerbacks every draft.
I would say that's basically what we based our entire draft on. I think that if we didn't get a corner, D-line maybe in the first round, the draft was a bust, man. How many of those did we go through saying, all right, we need Terry Nardo, we need Cooper, we need somebody. Quinyon's not going to make it. We need somebody to strengthen up this secondary.
Yeah. It's tough, man. It's tough. It really is.
Because we're going to go right back to it this year, no? I mean, we're not going to – you don't think we're going to hit that well again?
And, I hope they go get a corner and take a swing at D tackle, because you're going to have a little bit of a void there on the defensive line. You need to find your 3 tech of the future, man. I'm not sold on Devontae Wyatt being it. Kenny Clark obviously getting older now, and he is not playing up to par. You've got a solid edge defender in Rashawn Gary. LVN's gotten a sack in his last 2 games, so he's starting to kind of amp it up a little bit. I like Carl Brooks in certain situations, but the statistics and the grades would say, no, he's not the guy. Maybe you go out in free agency and try to find one. Like Christian Wilkins was a free agent this year, someone like that. Now, it's going to take a lot of money to get a true 3 tech, and you've already spent that money on Kenny. So if we're modeling our roster out like we talk about doing on here all the time, your money's already spent on D tackle. So you got to kind of, all right, let's ride with this for a year or two. So that would suggest take a swing in the draft. And it sucks because, again, we went with Jordan Morgan. And listen, Jordan Morgan may end up being a Hall of Fame player when it's all said and done. And we'll all go, hey, it was a great pick. But there were 2 or 3 different solid defensive linemen that were on the board when we drafted, right? And it's like, we don't know what Goody's board looks like. And we're always going to say that, hey, he's forgot more about football than we'll ever know, right? In terms of evaluating players, especially. I don't know. It's just, it's a little bit frustrating when we go into an offseason and go, man, D tackle and cornerback, top needs. You didn't swing on corner until the 7th round, and that guy didn't make your roster. You ended up going to the practice squad. And I don't think, did we swing it all on D tackle at all in the draft? I don't think we did we? So anyway, Dead Fish, let's do a mock draft. Let's not. All right. You're going to see the subs go down real quick if we start mock draft early. It's going to happen. All right, let's do this, man. Let's switch gears and let's break down a little tape. You want to? That sound good to you, man? All right, so we got about 20 minutes, guys. We're going to go rapid fire here, but that's right. This is a special Chalk Talk edition of PTA here. What we did was we went back and found Chalk Talk from week 9 against the Lions. Now, listen, we can't break these down to the nth degree that we like to, but the way we're going to approach this, if I can get this just right here, is we're just going to run through each of the important plays from that game a couple of different times. Okay, that sound good to you, Emilio?
Let's do it.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of read off, okay, here was the play, the situation, and we're just going to roll through them. This first one came, again, this was week 9. Opening kickoff, first of all, Keyshawn Nixon hit with a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct, if you guys remember that. So the first play we're showing is first quarter, 14-17 left. This is a Josh Jacobs 13-yard run. Let's just kind of refresh our memory on how this game went. Obviously a nasty split. We won't get into all the details. It's like a highlight reel, okay? We're just using the Chalk Talk footage to relive this game, all right? So obviously an explosive run on the opening drive there, right? And we'll get the box cam here too. Emilio, add anything you want to add in?
Yeah, the only thing I saw off the bat was, Elton Jenkins kind of getting worked and pushed back off the line. We're going to have Josh Myers this game, right? It's going to be different having our center out there, having our starting line out there. I think that's going to be big for continuity.
That's a great point. I forgot all about that too. I did. That Josh Myers had missed that game. So
didn't we have a couple missed snaps? We lost that whole drive, right? When Jordan Love had 2 missed snaps and then a bad pass or something.
Yeah, we had a bunch, bro. A bunch. No doubt about it. All right, next play. First quarter, 9:26 left, 2nd and 10 play at Detroit's 28-yard line. It's another explosive run from Josh Jacobs. So what this should tell us on the surface is Josh Jacobs had no problem running the football against this Detroit Lions defense. Guys, they've lost seven defensive players to IR since this game. So this screams give the ball to Josh Jacobs all day long, man.
And you know what he said? It does not matter. Names, numbers, no faces. That's all the teams are in front of me. I love that.
Nameless, faceless bodies out there, right? That's it. That's Mike Tomlin 101 too in Pittsburgh, by the way. All right, so this is our first defensive play. And this was second and 9 play in the first quarter, 5:18 left at their own 43-yard line. And this was a Montgomery 11-yard run. Let's kind of see what went wrong. We're showing at the bottom here, Wyatt missed tackle, Quay washed out, Wilson missed tackle. The answer is everybody screwed up on this play. As you can see, the cutback, over pursuit, just bad fundamentals, man.
Yep. That's brutal. That's tough. I hate to see it. I mean, they just got gashed on the cutback, really, is all it was.
Yep. And again, we're going to be perfect weather, indoor conditions in the dome, but you see right there, Wyatt with the missed tag. This is what I'm talking about with a true 3-tech, guys. And I don't mean to pick on Wyatt. Wyatt can be a very, very effective pass rusher, but watch him bust through, shed. Look at that swim move, right?
Yep.
Played it perfect, but just can't make a tackle. That's how it's been since he got in the league, right? So.
And Kenny was back there, but he was already ran himself out of the play.
Yeah, so that was an explosive play that we gave up. Now here is 14:56 left in the second quarter, 4th and go. Keep in mind, we're winning 3-0 on this play. We are winning the game in the second quarter 3-0 at this point, okay? And this is the St. Brown touchdown, and this was Keyshawn Nixon, if I remember correctly. You're going to see cheat motion. They're going to motion over our boy out here, and they're just going to run kind of a back shoulder fade, and Keyshawn does not get his head around the play. He's tracking well. He's in a great position to make the play. He just right here, get your head around.
Yeah, I remember that. They ran it. They ran it once before too. Didn't we have a penalty?
Yeah,
and you saw it because Keyshawn already ran that motion. He already knew it was coming. Man, I'm happy with how Keyshawn's been playing, but no, that one was brutal. I remember. You got to spin your head around. You're running out of real estate at some point.
Yeah, that's his weak spot, no doubt about it, man. His weak spot is tracking the ball in man.
Didn't we have and not someone in the chat was saying, give Stokes a break, cutting on him because of his leg. I get that. No, I definitely do. Come back from that kind of gruesome injury. It was brutal. Went back and watched it. Ugly. I'm happy for him. But yeah, that was Stokes' problem too. Getting your head around trying to track the ball when it's even deep downfield. Something we just need to work on, I think.
Yeah. Second quarter, 14:49 left, 1st and 10 play from our own 24. This is Josh Jacobs' 37-yard run. Josh Jacobs, before we threw the pick six and went down early like that in the first half or right before halftime, Josh Jacobs was running very, very hard. Keep in mind, too, Jordan Love was banged up in this game. Elton Jenkins was had to play center, like Emilio pointed out.
Yep. And Jordan Morgan was playing left guard.
Look at this run. Let's go.
We can do that. We can do that with our normal line. That's not a problem.
Yep.
That ain't no problem.
Ain't no problem. Hit it for him, Amelia. I know you got access to it.
I know I got access to the board.
Don't be holding out over there, man. Let's make this fun. Hit all the soundboards you want during this.
But look, Anzalone, step up.
Mm-hmm.
Tucker Kraft ate him up. Ate his lunch. Tucker Kraft, whose lunch are you gonna eat this week is the question.
Yep. Tucker Kraft going to get in here and seal this off, and Ben Sims is going to pancake this cat right here, right? If I remember correctly. Look at that. Let's go.
That ain't no problem. Well,
great run there, obviously, by Josh Jacobs for
I think right after that, get to the line, handing the ball right real quick. I would like to see Matt sprinkle in a little bit more tempo here and there. Let's catch them on their heels. Because the Bucs got up to a lead when they played them and got that win. I think that's an opportunity for us.
Yeah. So check this out. You got that 37-yard run, right?
Right.
Then we had 2 offensive penalties and had to punt. So we're still losing 7-3, right?
I think that's what Mike asked Jordan the other day at his locker was, what if you were to pick something that this team has improved on since the last time you played them, what is it? And I think he was saying, pre-snap kind of penalties, putting ourselves in better situations and not making the dumb or silly mistakes kind of stuff.
Yeah. So second quarter, 10:57 left. This is a 2nd and 6 play from their own 24-yard line. Detroit's leading 7-3, right? Like we need to stop here. 2nd and 6. Rashawn Gary with the run stuff. Let's watch him. He should be, I think he's wide. Yeah, wide 9 right here. Let's watch the run stuff as Gary gets in the back. I think it was McDuffie back there with him as well. You see Gary right there grabbing a hold of McDuffie there too. So great run stuff right on 2nd and 6. Huge play for the defense. We'll let it run one more time here with the end zone cam. And then we're going to get to a 3rd and 4 play, the very next play, where Rashawn Gary gets a sack. So you get the run stuff on 2nd and 6 from Gary.
Yep.
And then the very next play, Rashawn Gary gets a sack on 3rd and 4. Let's watch it here. It's a cover 1 man mock drop. And Gary just going to, literally bull rush the tackle all the way back into the quarterback. That's the play, too, where Brenton Cox Jr.'s guy, I think that was him, or maybe it was Mosby. Who's 53? That's Mosby, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll notice the tackle gets tripped here, right?
Right. Yep.
Right out of the gate, you see he trips over his guard's leg, right?
He slipped.
Yep. And listen, kudos to Mosby for taking advantage. But I just love this straight arm rush. You see the arms extended. You got this guy after he tripped. He's way over out front of his skis, you should say. Look at Gary's lean right here with this bull rush, man. Just straight back into the QB. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So huge play there to get off the field. You're sitting pretty. You're like, okay. I remember thinking at this point, we can play with these guys. We can play, right? So you get that sack, right? Detroit got 2 penalties on the same play, okay? We went 30 yards, and we missed the field goal, if I remember correctly. Or was that Detroit's ball that happened? I think it was us, yeah.
Because we still had
there's 2 Detroit penalties that got us down the field, is right. And then it equated 30 yards. I think it was a pass interference. Then I think that might have been the Bo Melton play. Was that the Bo Melton play? It was somebody that I think somebody got ejected maybe or something. I can't remember. It's all right. But I know there was 30 yards in penalties, and then we ended up missing the field goal. So Detroit still leads 7-3, right? Again, bad conditions with
red
the
zone opportunities too. In 3rd, 4th down, I think that's something that we've improved on, but definitely red zone opportunities we need to close in on. And I think that was an issue that game too.
Yeah, definitely. There it is. Branch. Professor Cake says Brian Branch got ejected.
That's right.
So
because he had his mouth guard on the top of his helmet, a little alfalfa thing, because he wanted to put a green mouth guard in for the Packers and all that,
Yeah, all that cute stuff. John in the chat says Rashawn Gary owns Decker. What's crazy is it's sounding like Decker is not going to play. That's the latest what we've heard there too. So that's great news for the Packers as well. 2nd quarter, 5:23 left, 1st and 10 from their own 36. This is Monron St. Brown for 26 yards. We're playing 4-3 under Tampa 2 Mike. So the Mike is going to play Tampa 2 on this play. And you see they're going to just hammer that dig. It's almost like a choice route, like a dig sit underneath. And Amon-Ra St. Brown finding the safe side. I don't have a problem with that play. I know it's explosive, but when you play Tampa, when they read Tampa, that's where you hit it at right there. You walk the mock out with the 2 or the 3, and then you hammer the dig underneath, or in this case, a dig sit. You know how he kind of sits down in that zone.
Because you don't love that there's Bullard, Quay, and your X back there all the way deep, and then have that dig underneath. That's kind of tough.
Yeah. So now you're hanging tough here, right? 2nd quarter, 1:07 left, 2nd and goal play at Green Bay 7-yard line. Guess what you get? Another Rashawn Gary stuff. Look at Gary on the bottom of the screen down here, getting in, bang.
Here's the guy.
Gary, I don't know what it is about Detroit, but Rashawn Gary shows up to play every single time, man. And you see McDuffie too, man. McDuffie's going to get a lot of snaps in this game. He's coming off arguably his best game of his career. I think he's going to be ready to go too. Look at McDuffie getting the backfield right there. Yeah. Split the gap, and then Gary just throwing his dude to the side, making the tackle. Great play there. So another run stuff by Gary and McDuffie, the dynamic duo. So we held Detroit to a field goal there. It's 10-3. Like, think of everything that's gone wrong to this point, and we're down by a touchdown. That's crazy, right?
Yep.
Well, here's the play where it goes off the rails. 2nd quarter, 2nd and 2 play from your own 38. This is the Love pick 6. The play call was 11 gun tray left, 5-16 slot climb T safe. Let's draw that out since this was like the most crucial part of the game, the most important play. So with 5-16, we're just calling out the numerical code for the route tree here. So with the 5, it's going to be a Z out. Okay, so he's going to run an out route. All right. The Y is going to run a flat. Okay, like this. All right. I don't think there's any motion here, right? And the X is going to run a dig Okay, so we're going to get a dig here, if I remember correctly, and the slot is going to climb. So what you're doing is you're trying to run a strike concept. It's kind of like strike, but you got to dig, so it's really not strike. I don't like the play call here, Emilio. Like, I know you somewhat spread it out, but where's the slam dunk go-to play right here? And the T is staying safe. I don't think the T was even supposed to go out in the route. I think he's just blocking right here. But we're going to roll it here and show you what went wrong on this play. Love is going to kind of immediately feel pressure, and he's going to roll right. Now look at this play call. Love's got an answer right here, right? You can go to the flat with Tucker and get out of bounds. You'll probably, honestly, if he catches that ball, you're probably out at about the 50 with the first down. The clock stops, right? So with the play call and the decision to get aggressive before halftime, it's probably more on Jordan than it is LaFleur in his decision, to be honest with you. Now you see he gets pressured, still not pressured enough that he couldn't have dumped it to Tucker. Now, if he doesn't get pressured, however, this is coming open, boys, right? It's going to be there. There's no doubt about it with that climb there. I mean, look at he is butt naked through the trailer park.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's what Jordan was looking at. He knew that it was going to open up. I think now Jordan, though, because he's run into this problem a couple of times, I think he's been a lot more apt the past couple of games to just get it to Tuck, take your yardage and go. This right here is, I'm sitting in the pocket in Madden and I'm going to hold the right trigger because I know that shot's opening up. You know what I mean? And you think you can get away from them. You think you can. And by the time they get there, it's over. You're not moving fast enough. You got no acceleration. And man, it's take that easy look right here. Bang it to him.
And look, it's kind of a loop blitz, right? You've got Anzalone's going to come around. Mm-hmm. So Elton's already engaged. He's looping around. And Jordan Morgan, like you got to do a bit. You can't just hit him in the chest like that. You got to put yourself between him and the quarterback, right? You got to kick back in there and try to absorb that. Really, him getting contact is the reason that Anzalone was kind of thrown back into Jordan.
He squared it back up.
Yeah.
And remember, we're not going to have Morgan in there. Not that not that we're mad at Morgan. I think he still had a decent game that game, but put Elton back at left guard. Let's run the ball up the left side. Let's run the ball up the right side and protect our quarterback, build that wall around him like we're used to.
Yeah. As Deadfish says, I think the Y was open. He absolutely was. No doubt about it, man. Again, it's easy for us to say, right? We're sitting in here in the comfort of our home without
definitely
seven.
But I do think he's been more apt to take those checkdowns a lot more now. And, because it'll open up. Eventually, they're going to have a bust. Eventually, you're going to have a clean enough pocket to drop it in there. Take that right now because he was looking that way.
And the thing that gets me is this was definitely a T safe. This wasn't T leak. And what I mean by that is on a T leak, Jacobs is looking to block and then get out here, right, in a pass route.
Mm-hmm.
But what you see is Josh Jacobs blocks and he turns his head and is looking back. Like he's not even looking to get the ball. Watch. This is why I think it truly is safe. Bang. You see, like right here,
my man.
He would be out in the route right now if that was the case. Now, right here, he's like, oh, crap, Jordan's in trouble. And Jordan tries to improvise, right? Now, here's the problem with throwing that. Even if it makes it to Jacobs, he's about to get lit up as soon as he turns back upfield, right? Mm-hmm. So you just got to chuck that ball away, man. You do. So, and again, we don't want to harp on all the negative. It's just the point that this play right here lost you the turnover differential and the middle eight. This was the play is the reason you lost the ball game, in my opinion. And that's all it takes sometimes is one play for things to go wrong, and all of a sudden.
I would have rather even him just take the sack there, right? Eat it. Let's run out the clock, whatever. You got to live to play the other down. And I know that it's been a problem for him with the playoffs last year, all that. But at some point, that niche is going to kind of get that bump is going to kind of get sanded down a little bit. And I think that's where he's at now in trying to get past those.
Yeah. And so you had a Gibbs 18-yard run. Now we're in the third quarter, 9:32 left, 4th and 1. First of all, Detroit did go down and score the touchdown, obviously, right? So they're up 17-3 now going into halftime. So you come out of halftime. This is a 4th and 1 play, and this is a Gibbs touchdown run. So this is the perfect example of them going for it on 4th down, which is something Detroit really likes to do. They love to run on 3rd and long because they're willing to go for it on 4th down. You got to keep that in mind. The play call was nickel 4-2-5, odd, Mike 7, cover 0, Will Strong fire, and 91 gets washed out. He's no longer on the team, obviously, in Preston Smith. 7 playing patty cake. That's Quay. Quay's playing a lot better football now, and 21 just looks scared. I don't mean to pick on Eric Stokes, but watch him on this play. This is like, hey, look, you're going to have to get a stop. You need to get a stop. And look, that just can't happen, bro. And I know he's playing outside contained, but you got to know I got to get my face in there and try to make a play. It just looked like a business decision. It really did.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, we cannot have those kind of cavities. And I think that Hafley's talked about it. We've really tightened up the run game as of late. I think that we've done well kind of hemming them in. And I think that's something that gets a little bit stronger as the year goes on. You kind of find your gaps, you find your spots, see what the other teams, you can kind of look a little bit more. And, you get a feel for where, Quay is going to be, or where Devon, Wyatt's going to be on this rush, on this type of play, kind of thing.
And this, to me, listen, gap assignment here, right?
Yeah.
Gap assignment here. Gap assignment here, I would imagine, right? This is probably, he may be two gapping, but my guess is gap assignment here, gap assignment here, gap assignment here, and Bullard's got to fill up on the contain out here, right? So you've got two free bodies to make a play. The problem is on a cover zero blitz, it looks like these guys both go to the same gap, both Xavier McKinney and
that's right. I remember that. That's right. They did gap it. Yeah.
So again, Quay, listen, you're a first round talent. You're the mock backer. You're supposed to be a leader of the defense. You got to attack, man. You're in one gap here. This isn't, hey, let's play patty cake. But at the same time, he was expecting help, right? You see right here, like you got to get off that block and make the tackle. But look at Edger and Cooper. You just got too aggressive, man. You called a cover zero blitz, right? That's what happened. So, and that's how that gap ends up wide open. And again, Stokes had no interest whatsoever in helping for sure.
And I don't think Hafley, I mean, maybe he will. Maybe he's still going to throw some of those blitzes. I think he might tone it back a little bit, get a little bit more sim pressure, mess with Goff a little, and not try to put him in such a predicament running zero man kind of things.
Yeah, for sure. So the next drive, Green Bay would punt again. Then the defense stood tall and forced Detroit to punt. So Detroit's still leading 24-3. This is the third quarter, 5:14 left, second and 6 play from our own 29-yard line. This is Reed on a 32-yarder here. 11 gun, dubs, strong right T weak, F zipper climb, 89 Y leak T swing. And this is a big explosive play here. When the game's on the line, think player not play, and that player is Jaden Reed as he continues to run those deep crossers. It was there, man. It was there all day. It's just a matter of the protection.
Well, because you have who was that running them off? You got your the top receiver up there running that streak. It was basically how they beat us with the Tampa 2. We're beating them on this cover 3, with running that streak up and looking for the late window crosser.
Yeah. So
our boy Scoot was right there. I told you. Run him off. He's got the speed over the top. Then you're worried about the crosser underneath.
So you had that 32-yarder to Reed, right, with the scoop block. That triples your chances. That explosive triples your chances of scoring on the drive. Unfortunately, it was a field goal. Let me tell you why. First down incompletion. Love fumbled. That was the snap we talked about. Love fumbled again the very next snap, and then you had to settle for a field goal. So the whole thing got stalled out with the Elton Jenkins snap, and
that was the one I was talking about. I just want to bring this up real quick. Kenneth Hammond was saying, our center displayed some bad footwork last game. That's true. We've had that problem, with Josh Myers, but I'm right here what Clayton's talking about. Happier that we know the snap's going to be coming back there. And, we've hammered all that stuff out. Let Elton be at left guard and do his thing. And if we have bad footwork, okay. But at least we won't have 3 mishaps on snaps that could have ended up with being real plays.
Yeah. So again, first down incompletion, Love fumble, or the bad snap, field goal makes it 24-6. Defense comes out again, Emilio. Stops them cold. One of the best offenses in the league, made them punt again. So now we're fourth quarter, 12:30 left, 4th and 5 play from our own 36. Got to go for it, right? It's the fourth quarter. Guess who they go? Think player, not play, right? Actually, this is defense. Hold up a minute. Where did we get a defensive play here?
The one before it, I think.
That one got snuck in on us. It's not on my list.
Just run it.
This is bonus ball. Let's hit it, man. Let's see what this play is. 4-3 under, Sam 7, cover 3. It's not on the list.
Oh, that's right. That was the flea flicker. We ate it up.
Kingsley Nigbari.
But we got to be ready for it. That's what you and Tim were talking about. You got to be ready. You have to be ready for these kind of plays, man. You always have to be ready. Yeah.
Might be Panay Sewell back there, right?
and over, I mean, how you don't see Matt do it a lot, but how often are we going to have overload or offset? I mean, you got 2 tackles on one side, your heavy formation. How many times you gotta pick that out? You got to know where they're going to be on defense. When Bullard was talking in his interview, hey, we got to know where Amon-Ra is, we got to know where Gibbs is, and we have to be ready for the deep threat down the top. I can't remember Wilson. Yeah. But you gotta be ready for all those guys at any point, and then on top of it, trick plays.
Yeah, definitely. So again, that play right there is what led to the Detroit punt. You come back fourth quarter, 12:30 left, 4th and 5 from your own 36. Got to go for it when the game's on the line. Think player, not play. And once again, that player's Jaden Reed. We're going to go 11 gun, nub right, T same, RPO F flat, 28 counter. Let's roll it here. RPO F flat. Look at the F. We ran this last game too, man. They love this play right here. Flat with a couple blockers. Remember the Christian Watson block on that last game? This is the same exact play. Basically, ball in the belly. If you like to pre-snap hat count, fire it to the F. Let's see what Jordan does. Actually handed it off, 28 counter, out the backside.
Yeah,
so
there we go.
We are off track big time.
Clayton's chart is got a little coffee spill on it. And
I had a Reed 28-yarder on that. Now, it was an RPO F flat, so I think what I did was I put the wrong name down for the guy who got the ball. Then we got the Enigbare tackle for a loss coming up, unless it's a separate one.
That was the one we just watched.
Right, so we got crossed up here a touch. Got it. All right, cool. So here we are. This might be the Wilson. Is this Wilson? Yeah, this is Emmanuel Wilson run. Okay, we're back on track. Emmanuel Wilson for 19 yards. So we got crossed up on those plays that were flip-flopped with the Enigbare.
Again, the guy that gets 3 opportunities a game makes something happen with him.
Every single time, man. Every time. Then fourth quarter, 3:49 left, 3rd and 1 from Detroit's 2. Guess who it is, Emilio? It's Emmanuel Wilson. He's just going to jam his thing in here. Again, 11 gun. What? Same exact look, man. We ran that RPO flat how many times, right?
Dude, real quick, though, that play in college football is an absolute killer. That flat right there and then they got or if the tight end's sitting right behind him and you run the flat, you cannot stop that play.
But
unless you're sitting on it.
If you're playing the CPU on Heisman level, let me tell you something. If this guy stays squared up and you throw that flat, my man is going 99 on you.
House call.
Every time. And I couldn't tell you how many times I said some bad words.
Spiked the controller.
Nah, it costs too much. But I've said some bad words. But again, Emmanuel Wilson jamming it in there, dude. Obviously, you went to the 2-point conversion to Watson. That's kind of where the game ended at 24-14. But again, Emmanuel Wilson, man, making the best of his opportunities. And I honestly feel like Chris Brooks is playing better football than Emmanuel Wilson right now. And that's saying a lot. It really is. So
because we use Chris Brooks a little bit like a fullback, just a dabble. And I think that they allow him enough to be that blocker, but not, we're not expecting them to clear out a I formation kind of stuff, but we'll sift him across or we'll inside split zone him or something like that.
Yeah, Dennis Shook with the super chat. Appreciate you, pal. He says, what players did we get for 17, 12, and 29? Man, that's a great question. Well, Amelia, do you have the answer to that?
Negative. I was going to say, Adams, right? Write that one down. Do some digging.
Let me see if I can find it real quick, okay? Davante Adams trade. All right, Packers. And
let's see here. As you're digging, I'll go through the chat here. Randy Cleavers, this game Thursday could turn the season. I think that's very true. All eyes are going to be on us. The whole NFL is going to be watching. That's going to be a killer game because we have a chance to still take the division with a win. And I think that's going to be a huge statement for this young team to go back. You lost to them the first time. All right, cool. They got their punches in. Let's see what we do this game.
All right, here we go. I got it. Davante Adams. Get ready to read another one, okay?
Go for it.
So with the Davante Adams trade, it says a blockbuster trade that sent star wide receiver Davante Adams to the Raiders in 2022 first round, number 22, and second round picks, number 53 to Green Bay. Those picks became starting linebacker Quay Walker at number 22, and the second round pick was a part of a trade package used to draft starting wide receiver Christian Watson. So you used a portion of it to get Watson, and the other pick, the first rounder, you actually got Quay Walker with. So I don't know, man. I think, listen, I'm happy with the way the Davante Adams thing ended up, be honest with you. I don't look back and go, God, what were we thinking? I don't know. Do you agree or disagree with that?
No, I feel the same way. I would much rather have options that rotate each week and keep the teams guessing. It's not like they're going up against a Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, and the way Tay's been, heading. I feel bad for him, but we're ready to revamp and rejuve. I feel like that he was kind of past that.
I'm trying to look at the Aaron Rodgers trade real quick to see who we ended up with there.
That's going to take some digging. Ron Sandville says, I think we need to pressure him to win. Watch the Houston game where they got 5 picks. That's so true. He's not comfortable in the pocket. You've seen him. Even when he tries to step up and get out, dude will just get down and give up. You know what I mean? He'll just kind of curl up, and he doesn't want to get hit kind of thing. So I think that's going to be a key to the defense.
I got the Aaron Rodgers one. So the Packers receive 2023 first-round pick that ended up being Lucas Van Ness, a second-round pick that ended up being Luke Musgrave, and a sixth-round pick that ended up being Anders Carlson.
Bang!
I don't mean to laugh. And it said a 2024 second-round pick traded down to select Edgerrin Cooper and safety Evan Williams and offensive line Jacob Monk. All right, so there you go, trading back with that pick. You turned it into that. The Jets ended up receiving Aaron Rodgers, plus the first-round pick ended up being Will McDonald for them. And then, of course, they took a fifth-round cornerback, I believe. So there's that one. Now, what's the 29? Is that Rasul Douglas?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead. Keep on talking, Amelia.
Okay, back to the chat. Let's see. Who names the plays? That would be Clayton names the plays.
Be careful.
Ron again said, watch the PFF guys today. They said that Matt ran a version of the same pass play 18 times in the Lions game. No idea if he knows what he's talking about, but I think that's the Matt's basic, fundamentals of the illusion of complexity. We can run the same play out of 15 different sets with 8 different, combinations of players. I think that's what really helps us set us apart, because you could put it on tape maybe week 1. You're not going to use it again until week 13 with that set of players, that formation, that part of the field, that down and distance. I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
29. Oh, I think Prince has it here. 29 is Hopper. That's the easy one.
Third-round pick. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. That's what we're coming up with. We traded Rasul Douglas in the 5th-round pick to the Bills for that 3rd-round pick. So we gave up Rasul Douglas in the 5th-round pick for Tyron Hopper. Listen, I'm not like over the moon with those trades. Like, oh yeah, boy, we fleeced them. But again, other than Rasul, I agree. Kind of, you got to the point with those trades. It was time to move on from Devontae and Aaron, because Devontae wasn't going to play for the Packers anymore. Man, he was already pissed off. Yeah, it was what it was. So
yeah. Ron said got away from Adams' contract as well. And Greg, the only issue is when it's 3rd and long and we could use a real NFL wide receiver 1. I'd push back on that a little, but I get your point. Definitely. You want someone that can go, Megatron or Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, beat them. But I do think that we have wide receivers that can do that. It's just you're not calling on them every single 3rd down the same person.
Yeah. All right. That's it, guys. Went over a little bit, but hey, Dennis Shook, thank you for the super chat, buddy. I'm glad we got a chance to look that up, because it feels like it was a lifetime ago, but really it wasn't long ago at all, man. So thanks for bringing that back up, and thanks for supporting the show. Emilio, you got anything else before we wrap up, man?
No, what 2 sleeps, right? Tonight, tomorrow, and we're ready to go, man. It's going to be a good one. Next gen stats, all that stuff. I'm excited to see it. But yeah, it's going to be a big game.
All right, guys, y'all have a wonderful evening. We'll be back tomorrow morning for Good Morning Lambeau. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack.
Thanks for watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Green Bay Packers content. Created for the fans by the fans. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know whenever we go live. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Packers_access. Go Pack Go. Have a great day.